There are many mountains sacred to certain peoples throughout the whole world, but none can compare to Mount Kailash in uniqueness. Mount Kailash in Tibet is unique for a few reasons, with one being that it is significant to four separate religions. The first of these groups is the Bön. This religion is native to Tibet, with only 10% of the population practicing it. The Bön religion is polytheistic, yet only maintains three gods. While stigmatized for much of its history, Bön has been recognized as an official religion as of 1977, after representatives were sent to see the current Dalai Lama. To the followers of Bön, Mount Kailash represents the Axis Mundi, or connection between heaven and earth. Secondly, there is Jainism, which is practiced mostly in India, but can be found in other secular countries such as Canada and the United States. Followers of Jainism, commonly known as Jains, hold certain interesting core beliefs. One belief is substance dualism, or the idea that mind and body are not one, but rather relate as two sides of the same coin. Another interesting note being that Jainism is transtheistic, which means that while gods exist, they are not as important as the main goal for all life, which should be to release all karmic bonds and live as a blissful soul for all of eternity. Mount Kailash is important to the followers of Jainism due to the last Tirthankara, or spiritual guide, being bathed at its peak shortly after his birth. Buddhism is the fourth largest religion in the world, with followers all over the globe. The main idea of Buddhism is to overcome the cycle of death and rebirth, to achieve nirvana, which is done by extinguishing negative aspects such as greed, aversion, and delusion. Mount Kailash, known as Mount Meru in Buddhist texts, is important to Buddhism due to the story that Milarepa, the champion of Vajrayana Buddhism, fought Naro Bonchon, the champion of Bon, at the base of the mountain. After it was obvious that neither man could gain the advantage in the fight, it was decided that they would race to the top, and whoever was faster was the victor. In the end, Milarepa was said to have won the race by riding sunlight to the summit, but he threw some snow to the top of the mountain, ensuring the bond connection stayed. Finally, the last religion with ties to the mountain is Hinduism. Hinduism, originating from India, is the third largest religion in the world, and may be the oldest religion of all time. The followers of Hinduism live life with a strict moral code, striving to be the best that they can, with some followers achieving moksha and ascending beyond the material world, such as in Jainism. Mount Kailash is an important part of Hinduism due to it being a gateway to heaven and one of the loka, or higher esoteric planes. Mount Kailash is located in southwestern Tibet. The area surrounding the mountain is already very high above sea level at around 15,000 feet, with the mountain peaking at almost 22,000. Mount Kailash is located in a very remote and inhospitable area of the Tibetan Himalayas, making it hard to reach. Due to the geography of Mount Kailash, it isn't very built up. There are little to no man-made features on or around the mountain due to the remoteness and sanctity of the area. In fact, even though the mountain is so holy to four separate religions, Mount Kailash is only visited by a few thousand pilgrims every year because of the intense and long journey to the site. As it is a mountain in the middle of the Himalayas, Mount Kailash does not have a major impact on its surroundings. Surprisingly, there does not seem to be much interreligious fighting over the site, and all four religions are able to share it equally. This does not mean that there have been no past problems involving the mountain. Due to the Sino-Indian border dispute, all pilgrimages to the mountain were stopped from 1954 to 1978, with limited numbers of travelers being let through thereafter. Another point in time was when the Chinese government reportedly let a Spanish mountaineering team climb to the peak. This was faced with international backlash and led the Chinese government to state that climbing Mount Kailash is strictly prohibited. Luckily, the Spanish team was never able to climb the mountain, and Mount Kailash remains unclimbed to this day. I believe that Mount Kailash's remoteness and the fact that it has never been climbed are part of what preserves the sanctity of the site, and is part of the reason why four separate religions feel that is representative of their beliefs. I initially chose the site because I have always been fascinated with Eastern cultures, but as I looked more into it, I was drawn in even further by the rich history and beliefs of the religions that call the mountain holy.